Well, good morning, everybody. Going to talk plenty of weather to talk about. We've got rain coming in today, of course. We're getting periods of rain, so that's actually been beneficial. It's helping with the drought. In fact, I'll check the latest drought monitor coming up here in a second. We'll see what it says. I think it comes out around 7, 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning. That's right. It's Thursday. This week's definitely gone by a lot faster than last week. But as we switch kind of to look at radar, you can see we've got widespread rain coming back in from Mississippi. And boy, this is just soaking rain. We don't have a lot of thunderstorm activity out here just yet, but we will. Just give it some time. Warm and muggy and awfully foggy out there, especially earlier this morning. As we take a look down the road, we're going to talk about this in a second. There's a slight risk for severe thunderstorms, mainly just southeast of our viewing area, and that is for Saturday, probably late morning into the afternoon. And the timing is going to be everything in regards to that threat for severe weather. And I think it's mainly in the form of a line of storms with the potential for damaging winds. But what we have right here is just a look at the radar. This is dated. You're going to want to look at our weather app, things like that, for the most recent look here when it comes to the radar data as far as if it's raining in your area. You can kind of see we have this little cluster still left over in Jackson County, DeKalb County, and eastern Marshall County. There's also a lot of low clouds, poor visibility. So I'm going to shift the radar again over here to the west, and this is pretty much what's coming in for the rest of today, or at least by late morning, early afternoon. We're going to be dealing with a lot more rain coming in. None of this is severe, but overall just something we're keeping an eye on. I'm going to go ahead and shift gears and talk about the forecast. Here's the big picture of the U.S. Let me make sure I've got the latest model. That's going to be the GFS from midnight. The morning run still coming in. And again, there's just more wet weather. So let's get in, regionalize this, talk about today. Friday actually doesn't look too bad, but this is going to be the GFS model, and we're right down here. This is North Alabama here. Got Tennessee covered with rain too. So as we continue on, this is going to be roughly 1 o'clock today. So that big batch of moisture in Mississippi is coming northeast. And then the main area low pressure, this area right here, spins to the north and moves away. But the thing about it is, and we've been watching this most of the week, trying to figure out how far that boundary is going to move south. I think it's going to stall somewhat just south of us near Birmingham tomorrow morning. So you can see right along this boundary here, we're going to have drizzle and probably low clouds throughout much of the day tomorrow into tomorrow night. And then the bulk of the energy starts coming at us as we get into Saturday morning. And I wouldn't be surprised if before sunrise we have widespread rain. So here's a look. This is Saturday morning around 7 o'clock in the morning. More widespread rain. I'm going to go ahead and localize the view a little bit more here so you can get a better perspective. If you're going to be traveling Saturday. So this is roughly... That's today. Let me go forward here slowly. That's Friday. Again, we've got the boundary that's going to set up over us, and that's what's going to lead to a little bit more in the way of drizzle and fog, low clouds, poor visibility, not the best conditions. That's why we have a lot of indoor sports this time of year. That, and usually it's colder, right? So this is midnight. As we get tomorrow night into Saturday morning, rain starts picking up over northern Mississippi and just continues sliding east. So I think we're going to have to deal with the fog, poor visibility, all that stuff. And it may be worse if the winds don't pick up, especially on that boundary. And this is the 6 o'clock a.m. time frame. So if you are traveling south here, you are going to run into rain basically the entire way on I-65 down to I-20, I-59. Pardon me. It is going to be miserable. We're going to talk about the severe weather side of this in just a second. Overall, I don't see a huge threat for severe weather, but it's going to be more focused. Here's the noon hour. I think our rain really lets up around noon Saturday. But the severe weather side of this will be down there at Gadsden, Montgomery, Columbus. Let's take a look at a sounding here. Of course, I have interest down here in Auburn lately. 2 boys down there. But this is the sounding data. I'm going to full screen that for you. What you're looking at is the atmosphere. You look at some of these numbers. Storm relative velocity, that's your wind shear, basically. It's high enough for a tornado risk. However, there's very little instability. In fact, there's none at the surface. So this leads me to believe we're mainly dealing with strong gusty winds. As we look up in the mid-levels, this is an 850 low-level jet. It's about 45 to 50 knots, which is strong, but it's been worse lately. And here we go, and the helicity just drops. So I really don't see a big threat of severe weather with this. I see strong thunderstorms and very heavy rain when it's all said and done. So again, that is the sounding there. That's what it's looking like. We're going to go long range here in just a second because I know there's that snow graphic image that keeps getting shared and shared and shared. Let me look at the... All right. So let's see what we're looking at here. Let's kind of reset. So as we go into next week, let's talk about temperatures real quick, and then we'll get to the drought monitor because it is, let's see if it's been updated. It's updated, but I don't agree with it. I don't always agree. I think the drought monitor is always like a week and a half behind. So let's get to your Friday. Our temperatures today hold steady in the 50s. This is noon tomorrow. We're looking at 56 to 61. The challenge here is I think the dew point's about the same. So we're likely going to see fog. I don't know if this has a visibility graphic or not, but it's just going to be a cloudy, foggy day, it looks like. And then look what happens here. This is going to be Saturday at 3 o'clock. This will likely be behind the storms and ahead of the front as the temperatures get back into the mid-60s. So it's going to be on the warm side. And then as we get into midnight, this will be 48. So this will likely end up being the official high for Sunday, happening just at midnight. Because as we go through the day, we stay in the 40s, and it's going to feel colder than that. And then we drop down close to freezing by Monday morning. But we don't quite get there. So that really colder air, the really cold air we had last week, it's not coming back. So it's not part of this air mass. Let's check the wind chill for Sunday. So we get here to Sunday. Yeah, this is going to be noon on Sunday. So it's going to be breezy, borderline windy, and it's going to feel like the 30s all day. So that's not going to be very fun. So not real pleasant there. Now let's take a look at, I think I got it in this one right here. Nope, it's that one. Here's the latest drought monitor. These come out every Thursday. They're still saying we've got severe drought. I just don't buy this. An extreme drought over far northwest Alabama. But again, for your planning purposes, I just don't see drought being a big issue right now, especially since we're going to get more rain. I don't think this counts into the fact we just had all this rain. I think that's the problem with it, and that's why it's usually behind. So next week, I bet we'll be back to just a moderate drought in some areas. So now let's talk long range, because I know you want to. So let me get into this long range forecast. I'm going to expand the view here to show the U.S., the national view. These are temperatures, and overall it's cold in the mountains. These are the mountainous areas out here. Let me just go ahead and full screen that. And then no big push of really cold air. Notice how the cold air pretty much stays up here in Canada, the coldest air. And I'm just watching this trend. See how that starts to drop? Got this big drop to the south. Actually, that's wind chill and heat index, but it kind of tells you the picture as well, a little bit more dramatically. So it looks like there's going to be a coastal northeastern storm system there. And then we've got potential warm up coming our way, but there's another little wave here. That's kind of interesting how you can, down here along the Gulf Coast, you can kind of see that circulation in the temperature profile. And then it gets cold, trends colder. And the problem is the farther out you get on these graphics, the more error you're going to have. It's basically like a logarithmic function. So if something's wrong in the initial days of the forecast, it's going to be even worse the farther out you go. So let's take a look at the lows and highs and the rain. Pacific Northwest, quite a bit of rain there, a little bit of snow in the Rockies, good for ski resorts around here. Here comes the Saturday storm system, not overly impressive. There's a round of heavy rain and thunderstorms early in the day for us, probably by noon down south. And then comes the cold front. But I just want to look at this real quick. This is more of a Pacific storm system. So it doesn't really have the true really cold air behind it. So it's pretty normal behind that. But there will be snow spreading across parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, upstate New York. That's that coastal, that low pressure in the northeast. And then another system. And one thing to look at is this little low here. The other storm systems we've had recently have been originating up here in Alberta. And these are farther north of the Great Lakes, dropping southeast. So I think the pattern is going to pick up in the northeast U.S., and we're just going to kind of be caught in between. And here comes that coastal system. But this, you get 200 hours out or so this time of year, and you're kind of in la-la land with the models. And this tries to spread in some snow into the Appalachians up into the Carolinas. And there's probably going to be a lot of posts about this, but that'll fade away. And again, we're way too far out here. But there's nothing that supports the graphic that keeps floating around. If anything, it looks like the pattern, well, see, this right here tries to bring us some snow, but this is 372 hours out. And we typically don't get snow that way. We need the low all the way in the Gulf. So one other thing I want to look at here. Let's look at 500 millibar pattern. So what this tells us a lot. I'm going to use the ensemble model. Basically, the GFS runs, it has several different model runs, and it blends them all together. So let me see that here. Upper aerodynamic. Whoop, I was already there. 500 millibar heights. This is heights and vorticity. So you can see the storm coming in Saturday. It's got a real strong trough of low pressure to it as it moves off to the east and northeast. What I'm looking for is the pattern here. So you can get blocking patterns that show up on this. But there's not much to this overall. So I don't see any real big pattern recognition going on. Initially, almost like a Rex block, but it doesn't quite fully form. So here's the challenge with this storm system here that's showing snow for us, is that, again, that's probably around the 8th of February, is that it looks like it's cut off. The main jet stream energy is up here to the north, whereas this is underneath this ridge, so I'm not going to put a lot of stock in that at all. So let's see if I can find... Actually, I can't quite do it on this one. I can do the blend of models, though. See if that shows me anything. Winter weather, total snowfall, just because, right? This is the blended model, total snowfall. And you see, that map looks a lot different than what you see floating around. So the blended models keep the snow where it normally is in the mountains. Not much going on here, so almost like a ridge across the upper Midwest. It looks like we got a little sunshine out there right now. I'm going to have to get back to the radar here in just a second. And then I want to do something else too. Move this over here. Let's take a look at the satellite. I'm going to take a look at the satellite here after I look at the radar to see what's going on. We've got Like someone's got something mechanical going on out in the backyard, at least the front yard anyway. So what I want to do here, I'm going to build a satellite image here. Go back. Continue. Let's see. Visible. I'm not used to using this particular satellite page. I'm just curious. Yeah, we're getting some holes in the clouds out there. But let me. So that's going to allow us to warm up a little bit more. It's kind of looks like Swiss cheese out there, doesn't it? But we're going to get a little more instability as the afternoon wears on. And therefore, I think we're going to see some thunderstorms with some heavy rain. So heavy rain will be a threat later today as well. I don't have a whole lot else to talk about. I think it kind of covered everything. We're going to have some quiet weather next week as temperatures get back to a little bit below normal overall. So again, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe down there. Just subscribe, and you should get notifications as to when I go live. But this has not been live. This has been recorded. Thank you all. You have a good day.